national champion? Will the Volunteers surrender #1 if the Nittany Lions roar? Or can the Arizona Wildcats claw their way to the top with the Seminoles set to soar? The Heisman breeze is blowing in the Big Ten between Purdue and Wisconsin's Great Dane. So find out all you need to know about college football next. Welcome to the Metrex College Football Preview Show, featuring the Playboy All-America team and the Playboy Top 20. Welcome to Tallahassee, Florida's Doak Campbell Stadium, home of the Florida State Seminoles. Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Page, and this is the Metrex College Football Preview Show. Joining me are coach and analyst Terry Bowden, as well as longtime Playboy sports editor Gary Cole, will give us his choices for the Playboy All-America football team, as well as the top 20 teams in the nation this year. Gentlemen, nice to have you here.
I'm ready for some college football.
It's great to be here, Bob.
Now, we'll start the year with the Tennessee Volunteers as defending national champions, of course. They will be a contender, as you know, but we're not going to give away the choices just yet. So let's check in on what's going on in Knoxville, Tennessee with our correspondent, Jim Woogan.
Thanks, Bob. The big phrase in Knoxville right now is back-to-back. The Vols believe they can be repeat national champions.
I hope that there's a confidence about that they've been to the top of the mountain, they know how to get there, and they're going to do all that they can to get back.
Tennessee lost big play pass receiver Peerless Price to the NFL, but they've got an experienced, solid offensive line, and they are deep at running back. Heisman candidate Jamal Lewis returns after a knee injury forced him to miss most of last year. And they've got a quarterback who runs, throws, and who is undefeated in 13 games.
I feel like I don't have to do all of the work. You know, I have a lot of guys who I can spread the ball around to and let them do their thing.
Everybody's concerned about Jamal and how he's going to come back, and I think he'll be fine. Last year we had a big play receiver in Peerless. This year we're still trying to find that guy.
On defense, the Vols lost team captain and middle linebacker Al Wilson. But replacing key players is something Tennessee is used to. Playing for a second straight national championship is something new.
I don't think we see it as much as defending a national title as we do as trying to win a national title. I think, you know, for the most part, everybody's forgot about last year's championship and more so focusing on this year's.
The toughest part about Tennessee's season, they play Arkansas, Alabama, and Florida away from Neyland Stadium. Guys, back to you.
Well, clearly Tennessee is going to be very good, but as we all know, it's difficult to repeat as champion in any sport.
Yeah, and they've got to go to Gainesville and play in the swamp against the Gators. That's going to be tough. And, you know, you don't only have to be good, you've got to be lucky. That ball bounced just right for Tennessee last year. Arkansas games, they had a little bit of luck and a lot of talent. It'll be tough to repeat.
Yeah, I can believe Tennessee can do it again, just like I can believe lightning can strike twice in the same place again. It's that hard to repeat, even though they're a very good team.
All right, we know about UT, and we know about the perennial powerhouses. Do you guys have any sleeper picks right now, potential national champions?
Well, I'm going to keep my eye on Virginia Tech. They were 3 plays away from being undefeated last year. Their schedule's not too tough, and they've got a knack for blocking punts. 8 during the season last year, 2 more in the bowl game. They're going to be a team to watch.
The long shot I like is Georgia Tech. Georgia O'Leary's got a good team. Joe Hamilton, a multi-purpose quarterback there, is a real threat, but they got to find a way to beat Florida State. Speaking
of long shots, the Longhorns of the Lone Star State, maybe, as I say, a year or 2 away from regaining the dynasty form that once dominated the old Southwest Conference. This thanks to new coach Mack Brown and some NCAA prime recruiting.
Great pride and pleasure that I introduce to you the new football coach at the University of Texas, Mack Brown.
Thank you. The first word that comes to mind when I think Coach Brown is enthusiasm.
He's a wonderful guy. I've never been happier being at the University of Texas as I have when Mack Brown is there.
He brings excitement that we haven't had here at the University of Texas for a while.
You know, the thing that we've tried to do, and it sounds very simplistic, but find guys who fit, and usually guys that fit, that are smart and have a lot of character, want to come.
Let's play hard. They're going to play hard. The team that wins this game is going to be the one that plays the hardest, the longest, and makes the fewest mistakes. Let's go have fun and win.
Go! Coach Brown has already started to attract some of the top high school players in America, including quarterback Chris Sims, son of former New York Giants star quarterback Phil Sims.
I think Mac Brown will definitely bring tradition and pride back to the University of Texas and to Longhorn football.
But with the loss of Heisman Trophy winning running back Ricky Williams, Coach Brown knows that 1999 will not be easy.
We've told guys at Texas, you don't have time to rebuild. People expect you to win every game all the time, so we're not in a position to reload. So what we've got to do is everybody needs to step it up and just do their part. We're not really sure what our personality is or who we are. We're not even sure how people play us without Ricky.
Life without Ricky Williams will be totally different. We'll probably balance a lot more between passing and running and try to keep the defense on their toes.
We've got Major in place. Major will do whatever he needs to do to help our team be successful. When you take over programs that are in as much trouble as they were when I took them over, you either turn them around or get fired, so you don't have any choice. You have to hurry. We've taken tremendous pride in making sure that when we left a school, it was in much better shape when we left it than it was when we got it. And we'll do the same thing at the University of Texas.
Ricky Williams is gone. Or is he? When we come back, a look at this year's All-American offensive backs.
When I left the operating room, I realized that medicine isn't just about restoration, it's about transformation.
I've noticed significant gains from using Met-Rex. My strength has increased, muscle mass has increased, while my body fat percentages have decreased.
My weight program started enhancing. My endurance started to be better. I'm such a believer in Met-Rex. It's worked for me.
I've noticed huge changes in my body since taking Met-Rex. I became bigger, stronger, faster, leaner, quicker, much more powerful when I run. And it's the Met-Rex program, no doubt.
I think everyone should try Met-Rex. You don't have to be a professional athlete in order to take Met-Rex. You've just got to be interested, number one, in your health.
There's not that many guarantees in the world, but I'm going to give you this. Met-Rex worked for me, and it might work for you.
Once you start taking Met-Rex, I'm sure you'll wonder, why wasn't I taking this all along?
Different challenges to muscle metabolism. What do they have to do with your goals for building muscle and losing fat? Maybe nothing. Maybe everything.
The Met-Rex College Football Preview is brought to you by Met-Rex, the sports nutrition leader in high-protein shakes and food bars that help you feel better, lose body fat, and gain muscle. Let Met-Rex get you in the best shape of your life. And by Papa John's, better ingredients, better pizza.
Welcome back to the show, and Gary Cole, let's begin rolling out the 1999 Playboy All-American College Football Team. Some difficult choices certainly had to be made on this, and I would think the toughest might have been a quarterback because there's so many great players.
Well, it was one of the toughest. There are a lot of good players out there, but a guy we had our eye on all year long last year was Drew Brees at Purdue. Not the greatest arm, not the fastest footwork, not the most amazing physique, but the guy wins, he makes good decisions, he sees the field very well. Reminds me a little bit of Joe Montana.
So here it is, ladies and gentlemen. We start with the offensive backfield.
Travis Prentice, Miami University, tailback.
Travis is a 6'2", 228-pound senior. Last season, he rushed for 1,787 yards and scored 19 touchdowns on his way to being named Mid-America Conference Offensive Player of the Year.
Ricky Williams, Texas Tech, tailback.
When you share the same name with last year's Heisman winner, people expect great things. Texas Tech's Ricky Williams finished 4th in the nation with 1,582 yards and is ready to make a Heisman run of his own. Ron Dane, University of Wisconsin running back. At 5'10", 253 pounds, Dane is only the second player to be named to the Playboy All-America team 3 times. He enters his senior year with 4,563 yards, and he'll need to gain 1,711 yards to take over the all-time rushing mark from Texas' Ricky Williams.
Drew Brees, Purdue University, quarterback.
6'1", 212-pound junior quarterback Drew Brees was the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year last season. His 55 completions against Wisconsin tied him for the NCAA record for single-game pass completions. Purdue quarterback Drew Brees is a giant on the field and a gentle giant off the field. Former 2-time Playboy All-American Peyton Manning sat down with Drew for a little one-on-one chat in our Papa John's Slice of Life feature.
Growing up in Texas, a lot of people ask how you got to Purdue. I know right now Texas and Texas A&M probably regret that they didn't sign you. So talk about playing high school football in Texas and how you got to Purdue.
When you're a teenager in Texas, you play football. If you got to play one sport, it's football. And so, actually, when I was a kid, of course, I'd just play football out in the street, pick up games, whatever. And actually, I didn't really play organized contact football until my freshman year of high school. With regards to Texas and Texas A&M, all my family's gone to Texas or A&M, and I would have liked to have, at the beginning, gone there, just because, kind of stay close to home, where the family can come and watch. But that didn't work out, and there's no hard feelings there, because I think that I'm really at the place where I belong with regards to academics, first and foremost, and then also to play football.
Drew, being a quarterback, you're obviously a leader on the field. It's also important to be a leader on campus in the community there at Purdue University. Talk about the different charities you're involved with and how important that is to you.
The first one that I got involved in was called the Gentle Giants program. It was started a couple years ago by one of the guys on the team, and it's just kind of gone from team member to team member, and I'm hoping to take it over next year. And what it is you go to one of the local schools called Miller Elementary School in Lafayette, and you go and you talk to kids, you pair up with a class, and you go in there during your free time, anywhere from 1 to 2 times a week, and just talk to the kids about life, anything they want to know about college or just about yourself and growing up, or you help them with their math, read to them, it's just do all kinds of things, and it's a really fun thing. I enjoy doing. I enjoy working with kids. I look back to when I was a kid, and whenever we had people come talk to us, especially people at when I was in elementary school, at the high school level, at the college level, because they've been through it at a closer time period, as where you have an older person come talk to you, they don't really know what it's like nowadays, and being a kid and the kind of problems that you're going to have, and the trials that you're going to have to go through. So I realize that these kids really appreciate it, and they look up to, at first when I came to the elementary school, it wasn't Drew the football player, it was Drew the Purdue college student coming to help us, and then of course find out played football, and then I was able to talk to him about more than just academics and things like that. But I know that I really appreciate it when I was a kid, so I hope that I can affect maybe only one kid, but if I can affect one kid, then it's worth it.
Terry, would that have been your choice, too, as the All-American quarterback, Drew Brees?
I think so. Not only does he have poise under pressure on and off the field, as we saw, but he's in a great passing scheme. They throw the ball a lot at Purdue. He's going to throw some stats up there. All
right, speaking of passing, let's pass over to the man on your left, Gary Cole, and begin our countdown now, the top 20 teams in college football. Gary?
Well, we're going to start at the bottom with a pretty good football team, Miami Hurricanes. Butch Davis has restored the integrity of that program down there, and now he's working on restoring the talent. Number 19, we have Notre Dame.
Maybe the toughest coaching job. They could be 9-2, they could be 7-4, a tough schedule, but you got to have 10 to make those people happy, so that's a tough situation at Notre Dame. Depth at Alabama has been a problem, and it's going to continue to be for another year or two, but if they don't have any injuries and win a few big conference ball games, they can move up into that top 10.
And how about that turnaround job that Houston Nutt did at Arkansas last year? It's amazing. They won the first 8 games, would have have been 9 if they hadn't blown that
Be
game.
careful. Don't win too many your first year. They're going to expect more the next year.
And then star-crossed Kansas State, all lined up to make their run at the national championship. Michael Bishop fumbles the ball, and it all went down the drain. But Bill Snyder knows how to win football games, and they will be back. They got a good defense.
They're going to go right back to winning, but they've got a new quarterback. Can they win it all? I'm not so sure.
In the battle against athlete's foot, you gotta have, boom, tough actin' Tinactin. Nothing stops the itching, burning, and cracking like clinically proven Tinactin antifungals. They're so tough, they can even prevent athlete's foot. Get boom, tough actin' Tinactin.
As a highlight of our franchisee meeting, we have the co-founder of Pizza Hut, Mr. Frank Carney.
Recently, the retired co-founder of Pizza Hut did something surprising. He bought a Papa John's franchise.
Sorry, guys. I found a better pizza.
Today, he owns over 70 restaurants.
Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza.
He's got it.
Make any game a great one. Make the call to Papa John's.
In the battle against athlete's foot, you gotta have, boom, tough actin' Tinactin. Nothing stops the itching, burning, and cracking like clinically proven Tinactin antifungals. They're so tough, they can even prevent athlete's foot. Get boom, tough actin' Tinactin.
Will the Volunteers surrender number 1 if the Nittany Lions roar? Or can the Arizona Wildcats claw their way to the top with the Seminoles set to soar? The Heisman breeze is blowing in the Big Ten between Purdue and Wisconsin's Great Dane. All you need to know is on the Metrex College Football Preview Show. Bob Page, Terry Bowden, and Gary Cole back with you on the Metrex College Football Preview Show. Continuing with our Playboy All-America team, it's time to target the receivers. One a 2-time All-American, the other a 2-sport standout.
Peter Ward, Florida State, wide receiver.
Peter Warwick's decision to stay in school for his senior year will provide Seminole fans with another year of more thrilling catches. Last season, he caught 61 passes, 12 for touchdowns, while averaging over 20 yards per reception.
Danny Farmer, UCLA, wide receiver.
The 6'4", 210-pound senior set the UCLA record for receiving yards last season with 1,274 on 58 catches. His 22-yard average was also a school record-setting performance. So what would you do if you were growing up and watched your father play wide receiver for the Chicago Bears? Right, you'd probably want to catch touchdown passes too. That's exactly what UCLA All-American Danny Farmer does. But the glorious son of Southern Cal attracted Danny to volleyball as well. George Farmer's kid wants to do it all, and he can.
I don't know what I'm best at. I don't know which one I'm better at, but I just love going out and competing. Volleyball and football do share similar skills, obviously hand-eye coordination. But I think the most important thing is obviously competition. I can compete all year round, whereas if I just played one sport, I'd have to compete. You know, if it was just football, only 12 games a year. And volleyball allows me to compete and keep my competitive nature all year round. Volleyball is obviously not as big a sport as football is. You had a big game, you could have anywhere from 2,000 up to 10,000 people. Whereas in the Rose Bowl, you can get up to 100,000 people. And there's obviously a difference of emotion, but I think volleyball, what it's good for is that the fans are really close to the floor, and they can yell and scream. You can hear it, and it gets really loud, and it's something that's emotionally they're both just very uplifting. I've had football in my family forever, since I was just a little boy, and football was probably the sport that I've been most accustomed to.
Having grown up around football his whole life and having the ability to be a two-sport standout, the question remains which direction he'll go in.
I probably play volleyball because you don't get injured as much, not a lot of contact. It is harder on your body, with shoulders and knees, and it's not very good for your body, but volleyball's, you can be on the beach out in the sun. I don't prefer one or the other. If I had to play a sport that I could play and stick with it, I'd play basketball. But football and volleyball just allows me to compete year-round. They don't overlap that much, and for me, it just allows me to go out and play.
Quite an athlete, and I'm sure his dad would be happy to admit that Danny's a much better player than he ever was right now.
Well, he's got a great vertical jump and his hand-eye coordination. You can see where the volleyball helps the football helps the volleyball.
Now he just needs to find somebody like Cade McNown this year to throw him the football.
All right, we've talked about some of the skilled position players, seen a handful of the athletic standouts, with more to crop up on this program coming up. But maybe this is a good time to talk about the Heisman Trophy race.
I got to say that Ron Dane is the easy front runner for this. If he doesn't get hurt, I think he'll win it.
I agree. I think he's got, if he gets the national record for yardage in a career, he's going to win it. If he comes close, he's going to win it. I want to see what he does against Ohio State, what he does against Michigan, because those are two good defenses. But after that, I think it's who's at a marquee position. Ricky Williams at Texas Tech, Drew Brees at Purdue, or on a national championship team. I think you might see a Peter Warwick or even a Jamal Lewis at Tennessee if their teams have great years.
The main thing is no matter how good a season you have, you almost have to have that certain amount of preseason hype and publicity coming in, or you don't have a chance.
That's what we're trying to do.
Okay, guys, so let's now move from the top-tier talent to the top teams in the country as we continue our countdown toward number one. Gary?
15, Virginia Tech.
That's one of my sleepers. I think they've got a great chance, and they're going to be good, followed by Texas A&M, who is another one of my sleepers. These are two outstanding football teams that could be top 10 real quick.
The number 13 team in our poll is Colorado, and the obvious factor there is they have a new coach in Gary Barnett.
Gary Barnett, he was a candidate for every coaching job in the country there, but I think he finally landed in the right spot in Boulder.
Just in time.
But Mike Moschetti, great quarterback there, and Ben Kelly, a DB and return man. They've got some players there at Colorado.
Gary, your number 12 team?
Number 12 team is Wisconsin, and I just want to know how big a smile do you think Barry Alvarez had on his face when he found out Ron Dane was going to stick around for his senior season?
Well, it possibly puts him in the Rose Bowl again, but a running back has to have good linemen, and they've got good linemen at Wisconsin.
My number 11 pick, this is my patriotic pick, Air Force. They're constantly overlooked. I never give them the credit they deserve, but if these guys have the nerve to train for the Persian Gulf and Kosovo, they can win football games, and Fisher DeBerry knows how to motivate young men.
Hi, my name is Brandon Spoon from the University of North Carolina, and hang around for more of the Metrex College Football Preview Show.
When I left the operating room, I realized that medicine isn't just about restoration, it's about transformation.
I've noticed huge changes in my body since taking Metrex. I became bigger, stronger, faster, leaner, quicker, much more powerful when I run. The results are unparalleled to anything I've ever done. And it's the Metrex program, no doubt. I would recommend Metrex to anybody who want to look better and feel stronger, except for maybe the receivers I have to cover on Sundays.
Another person who abandoned old beliefs for the empowerment of change. What are you prepared to do?
A typical car insurance agent is on the job during regular business hours. On the other hand, Geico insurance professionals are on the job 24 hours a day. Geico, a 15-minute call could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Paying too much for car insurance isn't any smarter. Geico, a 15-minute call could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Step up. Learn to see farther. Learn there are teachers who won't allow you to fail. Learn to dance, to draw. Learn that the real challenge doesn't come from the outside, but from within. And that there's more to you than you ever knew. Be all you can be.
Well, we've seen the speed and style of the offense. Now let's check out the brawn. And Terry Bowden, I know, as a 5'5" running back playing for your dad at West Virginia, nobody appreciated the offensive line any more than you.
Oh, I'm telling you, as a coach, I've yelled down the belly button of many offensive linemen, I'll tell you. But, you know, growing up, when you wanted to play ball in your backyard, you threw it or you caught it. Nobody lined up a yard apart from somebody else and knocked each other on their butt. But that's what offensive linemen have to do over and over again. It's a special position, and they're special guys.
So here now, a look at the big boys.
Jack Lifton, I played for the University of Tennessee at left tackle.
A 6'6", 320-pound senior, Chad has started 22 consecutive games at left tackle for defending national champion Tennessee.
Go Tennessee, go Volunteers, baby.
Ryan Johannemeyer, Colorado, tackle.
Ryan has played all 6 offensive line positions during his career.
Roger Reisler from the University of Texas. I play left guard.
At 6'5", 300 pounds, last season Roger didn't allow a sack. He's a 4-time All-Big 12 shot putter in track, and last year was a first-team All-Academic Big 12.
Took him. My name's Steve Hutchinson. I play for the University of Michigan, left guard.
Steve has already started 23 games in just 2 seasons. The 6'5", 300-pound Hutchinson enters his junior year as a Big Ten veteran.
Rob Reedy, University of Missouri, center.
Rob has started the last 23 games for the Tigers at center. A 6'3", 285-pound senior, he had 59 knockdown blocks last season. As you know, strength and conditioning play major roles in every college football locker room. With an inside look at one program, we blew into hurricane country. Miami head coach Butch Davis has previously found great success with Metrex as a member of the 2-time Super Bowl champion Dallas Cowboys coaching staff.
I really felt like that Metrex played a major role in us winning Super Bowls with the Dallas Cowboys. The first couple of years, our players were coming out of a grueling training camp. They were tired, they were exhausted, they'd lost an awful lot of weight, they'd lost a lot of strength. We implemented the Metrex products, the Troy Aikmans, the Daryl Johnsons, a lot of the great players really endorsed them, felt like it was a terrific product. Once I came to the University of Miami, I just absolutely felt like that Metrex was something that was going to give us a chance to win a national championship. Tommy Moffitt, our strength coach now, conducts all the stuff with Metrex, and we really feel like it's made a major difference.
Metrex here at the University of Miami allows our athletes to train hard every day, recover from that work, and then come back another day to train again. It's important that they understand if they properly recover from intense training sessions by using the Metrex products, we can continue to improve and get better day after day after day.
And now all the way from a Southern Florida power program to Northern Florida's powerhouse. Let's check in on what's going on right here in Tallahassee.
Thanks, Bob. You know, here at Florida State, there's talk that this year's Seminole squad could be the most talented ever. Matter of fact, some experts say that 10, possibly 15 players could get drafted next year alone. And with that kind of talent, it's no surprise that this year Florida State is thinking national title or bust.
On top of that talent mix, there's also plenty of motivation after last year's disappointing Fiesta Bowl loss to Tennessee. Quarterback Chris Winkie was out injured that game, but he's been medically cleared to go in '99. And if he returns to form, it could be a long year for Seminole opponents, especially considering the wealth of talent he has to throw to, which includes Heisman hopeful Peter Warrick. When the Noles hand off, Travis Minor is a star at tailback, and this year he'll have big bad Dan Kendra blocking for him, not to mention the entire returning offensive line from last season. On defense, the Noles are solid again as always. Gary Johnson and Corey Simon probably form the best interior defensive line in the country. And on the outside, look for Jamal Reynolds to become the next great defensive end at Florida State. The linebackers are athletic, although inexperienced, but the secondary is maybe as strong as ever. Leading the charge is cornerback Mario Edwards, who last year had 4 interceptions in 1 game alone. The FSU special teams are also special thanks mainly to the Polish powder keg Sebastian Janikowski, who routinely kicks off for touchbacks and can boot 60-yard field goals. The Seminole season kicks off August 28th at home against Louisiana Tech. Back to you guys.
Big expectations at Florida State every year, and Terry Bowden has some big expectations for his fledgling broadcasting career at this moment, so we thought we'd send him out to interview his dad as a first assignment.
As you know, Dad, this is my first interview that I've actually done, and so I may be a little shaky in this thing. But, Dad, you've been preseason ranked #1 4 times since 1988. How do you compare this team to some of those great teams that you had at Florida State?
Well, it compares favorably with the best ones. We don't mind being preseason #1. There for a while we did. But, you know, if you're going to win a national championship, you got to go out there and do it. So, has this team got a chance? Yeah, we got a chance.
Is it ever enter your mind that you're going to have a chance in a few years to maybe play in game number 324 and be the winningest coach in 1A football?
Terry, I don't even think about that. I really don't. My goal is to go out and produce a football team that is the best in the country. I get more thrill out of that than anything. Now, we've only ended up #1 one time in my career, you know, but we'll still always hope that next year. By the way, call me sir.
You know, I think that's the first father-son combination interview we've had on the football preview show, but we've had some other father-son tandems on our Playboy All-America teams in the past.
Hi, I'm Peyton Manning, quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts and former quarterback for the University of Tennessee. In 1996 and 1997, I was named to the Playboy All-American team, and it was a real honor for me. And there have been so many great players named to this team. But if you had to ask me my favorite player of all time named to the Playboy All-American team, I would have to say this guy right here, my father, Archie Manning, who was on the team in 1970 for the Ole Miss Rebels.
43 years of Playboy College Football All-America teams, and Gary Cole, I know you're very proud because you've been involved for 30 of those years.
I think the Playboy All-America team is one of the great traditions of football now, and to get together with these guys in a place like Arizona and get a chance to interact with them and meet them and find out what they're really like, it's really a special experience. But we've not forgotten that academics is part of the equation as well, which is why we instituted the Anson Mount Scholar Athlete Award.
The award was named after Gary Cole's predecessor at Playboy, Anson Mount, who began the tradition of selecting an All-America team.
Chad Pennington, Marshall University, quarterback.
The award honors both the academic and athletic achievement. Last season, Chad Pennington sported a 3.77 grade point average in the classroom and set Marshall records for passing yardage and touchdowns. And looking at a special student, let's zoom in for a look at the Playboy All-American special teams.
R.J. Sauer, University of Southern California, kick return.
Averaging a touchdown every 7 times he touches the ball, Sauer is the premier return man in the country for 99 and has an outside chance for the Heisman.
Sebastian Jankowski, Florida State, kicker.
Janikowski was the nation's top kicker in '98 and winner of the Lou Groza Award. His 27 field goals were an ACC record, while 47 of his 79 kickoffs resulted in touchbacks.
Shane Leckler, Texas A&M, punter.
As a first-team All-America and All-Big 12 in '98, Leckler averaged over 44 yards a boot. Out of 80 punts, 21 pinned the opposition inside the 20-yard line.
They've had to do a little remodeling at Pizza Hut headquarters since their co-founder came out of retirement to become a Papa John's franchisee. See, he thinks Papa John's makes better pizza than even the company he helped found. Today, Frank owns over 70 restaurants.
Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza.
He's got it.
Papa John's.
Hey, looks good here.
Make any game a great one. Make the call to Papa John's.
In the battle against athlete's foot, you gotta have, boom, tough actin tenactin. Nothing stops the itching, burning, and cracking like clinically proven tenactin antifungals. They're so tough, they can even prevent athlete's foot. Get boom, tough actin tenactin.
The executives are at the gate. Around the first turn. That's Bill Williams leading Miss Kelly Mack on the outside. And Jane Carlson. As they pass the car rental counters, Kelly Mack has to stop to fill out paperwork. Now it's Jane Carlson and Bill Williams neck and neck. Bill has to leave the airport to get his car, but Jane's car is right there at Hertz #1 Club Gold. The trunk is open, the keys are in it. It's Jane Carlson and Hertz #1 Club Gold. Exactly.
In the battle against athlete's foot, you gotta have, boom, tough actin tenactin. Nothing stops the itching, burning, and cracking like clinically proven tenactin antifungals. They're so tough, they can even prevent athlete's foot. Get boom, tough actin tenactin.
Welcome back to the show. And so we have seen some of the top offensive players in all of college football, but the question is, who's going to stop them? Let's take a look at the defense now, beginning with the secondary.
Ralph Brown, University of Nebraska, cornerback.
Brown has started every game at right corner for the Cornhuskers since joining the team his freshman year. He holds a school record for passes broken up in a game with 7, in a season with 14, and a career with 35.
Lloyd Harrison, North Carolina State, cornerback.
This Wolfpack corner is 5'11" and 193 pounds. Harrison is ranked second nationally with 19 career interceptions and was first team All-ACC and second team All-America in 1998.
Tyrone Carter, University of Minnesota, safety.
Tyrone set a single-season school record with 127 solo tackles. He's ranked first in the nation in tackles among active Division 1A defensive backs. He'll be one of the premier players of 1999.
Ahmed Plummer, Ohio State, cornerback.
Plummer has led Ohio State in interceptions for the past 2 seasons. He was an honorable mention All-Big Ten selection in 1998. And with his 6 feet, 193-pound frame, Ahmed will surely put a hurting on a receiver or two. Guys, as always, in the pressure cooker of big-time college football, a lot of coaching changes in the offseason. And the most interesting one, I thought, may have been Lou Holtz getting back into the game, going to South Carolina.
Yeah, and that's a tough job. You've got to beat Florida, Tennessee, or Georgia just to be third in your own division. Then after that, you better win your state championship.
Dennis Erickson did not have a lot of success in the National Football League, but he's had a lot of success in the college ranks in the past, and now he's back.
He's an outstanding coach. Now, he has a job that's going to take an outstanding coach, I think, at Oregon State. But he'll do a good job. It's going to take a little time.
And John Robinson going to Nevada, Las Vegas. Curious, how do you build a program there?
John was anxious to get back in coaching, and that was an opportunity that he thought he could do something with.
You know, these guys love the game. I think they love football. They're going to coach wherever they have to coach. And so I think you see it from where they were to where they are now.
That brings us to our Coach of the Year on our Playboy All-America team, and that's Ohio State's John Cooper, with whom I had a chance to chat at our recent get-together in Arizona.
I look at the past coaches that have won this award, you know, and it's a legendary list, so it's a great honor, and I'm very, very appreciative. But John Cooper was picked this year.
John, talking to a lot of people, and I'm already hearing from them, you know what, Ohio State was the best team in the country last year. You'll never convince me otherwise. How disappointing was it to you not to actually win the national championship?
Bob, it was very disappointing because I thought we did have the best football team in the country. We were ranked number 1 there for 10 weeks in a row, and then, of course, lost a close ball game to Michigan State. Florida State lost a ball game to North Carolina State, but yet they had a chance to come back against Tennessee and at least play for the national championship. You know, I can't argue that Tennessee deserved to be number 1 because they ran the table, but Ohio State certainly had a great football team.
What do you look for in the coming season for Ohio State? You guys always seem to have a powerhouse.
We lost a lot of good players. We had 8 players drafted. We had 3 got drafted in the first round. We had 4 other players that went as free agents. But the Buckeyes will have another good football team. I think Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, Purdue, the Big Ten is going to be extremely tough. Wisconsin's got Ron Dane coming back, and Purdue's got Drew Brees coming back at quarterback. So the league's going to be very tough next year, but the Buckeyes will be competitive.
Needless to say, you've had a tremendous career in a lot of different places. But are you driven at this stage of your career and at this age to win the national championship? I mean, how much does this really mean to you?
Well, it means an awful lot to me. I certainly like to win it before I retire, you know, and age is getting to be a factor now with John Cooper. But, you know, I learned a long time ago, you do the best you can and don't worry about it.
One of the things that's so amazing about Cooper is they lose so much talent at Ohio State. Guys come out early, they lose a lot to graduation, they jump into the NFL, and yet he's never deterred. They always have this steady stream of talent coming in underneath.
Well, he's got Ahmad Plummer coming back, and at linebacker, he's also got one of the best in the country in Niall Diggs.
Niall Diggs, Ohio State linebacker.
Niall was a 1998 first-team All-Big Ten selection. As a sophomore, he was moved from defensive end to linebacker. 6'4", 235, Diggs led Ohio State with 16 tackles for losses.
Brandon Spoon, North Carolina linebacker.
Spoon has all the physical tools and skills needed to be a tremendous linebacker. A fierce competitor for the Tar Heels, Brandon led his team and was 4th in the ACC in tackles last year with 138. LeVar Arrington, a junior outside linebacker at Penn State, became the first true sophomore selected as Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. Quite a feat. Going into '99, LeVar is a leading candidate for the Butkus Award, which goes to the nation's best linebacker, an honor he was a semifinalist for last year.
Gary, it's top 10 time. Take it away.
Number 10, Georgia. Jim Donan, he's done such a great job there over the last 2 years. 19 wins. Quincy Carter, boy, this
maybe
kid's
one of the
player.
best, maybe the best talented quarterback in the country. He can make things happen, and if they get the best players in the state of Georgia or get a share with Georgia Tech, they can compete with anybody.
Number 9, Florida. Great offense again, but they've only got 2 defensive players returning from last year, and I think that that's going to be a little rebuilding time there. But Doug Johnson's recovered from his broken leg. Travis Taylor's one of the great receivers. Steve Spurrier will find a way to score points. Michigan at number 8, I think the interesting thing there is Lloyd Carr. Is he going to go with the veteran Tom Brady at quarterback, or is he going to go for youthful potential in Drew Henson?
Problem at Michigan, I mean, if you don't win 10 games, people don't get excited at Michigan. That place is about winning football games, and less than 10 just doesn't do it. And so it's a challenge, but they've got a chance if they make that quarterback decision to have that great year.
And another surprise, Nebraska's going to have a good football team this year.
You know, you lose 4 games in Lincoln, Nebraska, and it's a bit of a disaster. But Frank Solich knew that when he was taking over for legend Tom Osborne, it wasn't going to be easy.
You know, I think people, too, can make the wrong deductions from what happens. There's a coaching change, but they had some injuries there that really caused them to lose ball games.
Right. Bobby Newcomb went down, their quarterback, D'Angelo Evans, their running back, and they didn't quite have the dominating defense that they did when they were national champions a couple of years ago.
Defense, always the most important thing in winning football games and championships is defense.
Nebraska, our number 7 team, and look at this, another surprise at number 6, Ohio State. They're going to have a good team this year?
Perennially powerful. They'll be there again. I think one of the big questions here is replacing quarterback Joe Germain, who was such a steadying force. Steve Balisari's got the the lead role on that, and most of their offensive line returns. Michael Wiley, great running back. So don't feel sorry for John Cooper. They'll be in the thick of it.
We'll be back with more of the Playboy All-America team, and we continue our countdown to number 1.
I need you to find these people now.
Okay, boys. Release the hounds. Someone's been here.
Searching for someone at your car insurance company after dark? At Geico Direct, we're here 24 hours a day. In fact, one 15-minute call could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Do you know how to drive? How to say, hey, that's a foul in Japanese? Do you know where in the heavens to find a human voice? Where in your soul to find character? 1, 2, 3, 1. Do you know the shortest distance to a college degree is a straight line called discipline? Do you know how to walk it? Be all you can be.
Will the Volunteers surrender number 1 if the Nittany Lions roar? Or can the Arizona Wildcats claw their way to the top with the Seminoles set to soar? The Heisman breeze is blowing in the Big Ten between Purdue and Wisconsin's Great Dane. So find out all you need to know on the Metrex College Football Preview Show. Find out who'll be number 1, who's on the Heisman run. All you need to know is on the Metrex College Football Preview Show. All you need to know is on the Metrex College Football Preview Show.
Hi, I'm Lloyd Harrison from North Carolina State University, and welcome back to the Metrex College Football Preview Show.
Before we return to Tallahassee, let's go a little further downstream in Arizona and check out what's happening in Tucson.
Thanks, Bob. I'm Dan Ryan, and this is the steamy time in Tucson and in the Sonoran Desert, and that pretty much falls in line with the red-hot expectations Wildcat fans have for their football team this year.
The last time we saw Arizona, they were recording what many believe is the biggest win in school history, a 23-20 victory over Nebraska at the Holiday Bowl in San Diego. That put the lid on a 12-1 season and a number 4 ranking in the final top 25 polls of the year. Now, as they prepare for the fast-approaching 1999 year, one they hope to extend into the next millennium, Wildcat players have turned summertime into drill time. They're fully aware this season could even top last season.
Yeah, I'm excited for it's not pressure, I'm just excited. I mean, you see, coming out of high school, you want to be ranked high. You want to be all this, Now you just want to go out and back it up, and we're out here, late till 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening to get better and to be on top 3, top 2. And that's what our goal is, just to stay on top.
Arizona opens the season on the road, first at Penn State and then TCU. Those 2 games will fully dictate Arizona's chase for a national championship.
Now keep in mind, Arizona has never been to the Rose Bowl, the only Pac-10 team that has been shut out. If, however, they get by Penn State and TCU, they could have bigger fish to fry. Back to you guys.
Well, I tell you, I talked to people at both Arizona and Penn State. They're both nervous, but they're both thankful that the game is so early because they know that whoever loses is going to have time to kind of recoup themselves throughout the course of the year and be back on top at the end.
Yeah, the only unfortunate thing is the Pigskin Classic, it's still a home game for Penn State. These are 2 great football teams. I hope they both play their best because it should be interesting.
Terry Bowden said earlier that defense wins big games and wins championships. Let's get to our final area, College Football All-America team, and that's the defensive line.
Chris Ovan, Boston College, defensive tackle.
An all-Big East first-team selection for the past 2 years, Chris was second on his team in tackles from the nose guard spot with 81. At 6'3", 290 pounds, he also led the Eagles with 5.5 sacks, solidifying Boston College's interior for the upcoming season.
Jabari Issa, University of Washington, defensive line.
For the Huskies in 1998, Jabari was selected as their Rising Lineman of the Year award. He was first team Pac-10 with 8 sacks and 12 tackles for losses. He's explosive off the line with great quickness, a threat to be reckoned with.
Robert Smith, Michigan State University, defensive end.
Robert is a 2-time Playboy All-America selection and will continue to anchor Michigan State's defensive line, starting at the end position for the 3rd straight year. He was the team leader in tackles for losses last season with 8.
Adewale Ogunleye, Indiana University, defensive end.
Originally from Staten Island, New York, Adewale is already Indiana's record holder for sacks with 26.5 and tackles for losses with 53. And now if we could have some kind of a drum roll, please, ladies and gentlemen, because this is where we put Gary Cole on the spot, and this is on videotape, and we're going to check it at the end of the year. Your top 5 college football teams coming into the 1999 campaign.
Well, I've mentioned them before as a dark horse. Georgia Tech, Joe Hamilton, a great quarterback. But I'll tell you, it's going to have to be their defense if they're going to upset Florida State on September 11th. That's the key game for them. If they can get by that, I think they can run their schedule. Number 4, Arizona. I think the thing I like about that team so much is their quarterback situation. They've got 2 really good quarterbacks.
And a great running back.
That's right, trunk candidate.
Who's your number 3 team?
Number 3, Tennessee. They've got all the talent in the world. Can they be Destiny's darlings another time is the question.
Well, Jamal Lewis is going to throw them back to a dominant running game. I think T. Martin has the ability to throw the football. We saw that last year. Receiving core is down a little bit, but Jamal Lewis, one of the best football players I've seen in a long time.
Our number 2 team is Penn State. How does Joe Paterno continue to do this year after year after year?
He's got one of the best football teams he's ever had this year. Tremendous defensive players, great line backing as they usually have. But this group, LeVar Arrington, Brandon Short might be better than most. Eric McCoo running back. If he can find a quarterback to run the show, awfully tough.
But he's got one of his best teams, and that says a lot at Penn State. He's loaded everywhere. He's got talent, he's got experience, and he's got some big games early. We're talking Arizona, we're talking Miami, and then he's got some other Big Ten wins he's got to pull off down the road.
And who's number 1? Well, Gary Cole. That's why we're here baking in the summer sun of Tallahassee, Florida. This was your fault. This is your idea, right?
Surprise. I could have picked Alaska, but no, it had to be Florida State. But to tell you, looking at this team on paper, 8 or 10 athletes could be considered legitimate All-Americans. This is, I think, one of the more loaded Florida State teams in history.
Not only is this a very talented Florida State team, but this is probably the most experienced team they've had. Returners at almost every position, a lot of experience, and you win championships with experience. So I see a lot of excitement there. I see a little extra gleam in my father's eye.
So Florida State is our preseason number 1. We'll be back with some final thoughts in just a moment.
When I left the operating room, I realized that medicine isn't just about restoration, it's about transformation.
I went to the store and I bought Metrex, and I was on it for a week, and I saw a big improvement. My weight program started enhancing. My endurance starting to be better. I'm such a believer in Metrex. It's worked for me. There's not that many guarantees in the world, but I'm going to give you this. Metric worked for me, and it might work for you.
Another person who abandoned old beliefs for the empowerment of change. What are you prepared to do?
13 years ago, I rented a broom closet like this. Put it in an oven, started making Papa John's pizzas. It was tight in there and hot, but I didn't care. I love making pizzas. I had a simple idea. Better ingredients, better pizza. I guess people liked it. Today, our stores are bigger and they're cooler. But one thing hasn't changed.
He still loves making pizza.
Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Make any game a great one. Make the call to Papa John's.